Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2022 Real Property Tax Foreclosure Bidder Seminar. My name is Frank, and I'm one of the auctioneers at Absolute Auction and Realty and the NYSauctions.com team. We've recorded this seminar because we can't do these seminars in person, and many of you have requested to watch these at your leisure. So this is a brief overview. If you want a more extensive information on property tax foreclosure and how it happens and what you can do to participate, we have what's called auction hour seminars on our website, aarauctions.com. There are 3 of them. Each one is an hour long, and you could watch those to get much more detailed information. This is going to be a brief overview, just to give you the information that we generally provide at the in-person seminar. And it's designed to let you watch it at your leisure. First of all, if you have very specific property questions, you want to contact a local town or village building department. Those are the people most informed about these properties, and they can provide you with specific information on the property itself. If you're calling or looking for information about taxes, you're going to want to reach out again to the town or village, the school district, or if you want to learn what the county taxes are going forward, you're going to call the county finance department or treasurer's department. Very general auction and participation questions should be emailed to info@aarauctions.com, and we'll get someone in our company to respond to you as soon as possible. We sell all types of properties at auction: improved, vacant land, majestic property, property that needs a little help, of it needs a lot of help. We also have great lakefront property or lake view property. They're quite rare at the auction, but we do have them. So the properties that are in this auction are here because of what's called Real Property Tax Law, Article 11. And there are specific processes that the counties must follow. If you're interested in learning about them, you should do a Google search for NYSRPTL Article 11, and you'll get to the New York State Senate site, and you'll be able to find the real property tax law that I'm speaking about. Before I go too far in this seminar, it's probably a good idea to get out your iPhone camera or your cell phone camera and take some pictures of these slides as we go forward. You can certainly stop and go back, rewind a bit to do that. But there are some things here that you may want to refer to later. Article 11 is the law. Everyone in New York State must pay tax. And in New York State, you're allowed a 2-year and 3-year on certain properties tax delinquency before it will be foreclosed on by the county, title taken, and then according to Article 11 must be sold at public auction. So what are the 2-year parameters? Every property type and classification, whether it's vacant land or improved, will be foreclosed on with a minimum of 2-year tax delinquency. The 3 years applies to agricultural property. And of course, by local law, counties can extend that time period. Property tax foreclosure involves tax bills and notices. There are specific public notices that are published. We'll talk a little bit about interested parties, what's that 90-day notice, and the presumption of validity and final judgment. So everyone gets a tax bill. You'll get an annual tax bill, and you're required to pay it on time. If you don't, there are certain late fees and interest penalties, etc. Even if you don't get your tax bill in the mail, you're still required to pay your taxes. And this has been proven through several court cases and challenges to notification processes. Just be aware that everyone must pay their tax every year, whether you get your bill or not. The public notification, there's a requirement to publicize the list of properties in the official countywide newspapers. There's time frames involved. You'll see these things posted in your legal section. And from there, you could begin doing your basic homework. Our experience is these lists are quite extensive. They're way before the deadlines of taxes that are due. and final. And I wouldn't put too much time and too much stock into this list being complete. Once the properties have received a judge's order signing title to the property to the county, that's when we get a list and we go out and post signs, take photos, and post them to our website. That's typically about 30 days or so, sometimes more, prior to the auction date. That's probably the best time for you to start doing homework. When we talk about homework, and these are interested parties that are notified through a title search, you're going to do the same type of work that the county does. You're going to want to go to the county clerk's office, look for recorded liens, as they are the only liens that are valid. You'll search by the last name, first name of the delinquent property owner, and make a list of any liens or judgments that were discovered. That same list you can verify with the treasurer's office as to who did they notify. Everyone who has a lien, whether it's a bank, a hospital, a small business owner, anyone that has a judgment or a lien against the property in question in the auction, has to be served notice of the impending foreclosure, and they have a period of time to step forward and protect their lien. If they don't do that and basically pay the taxes to keep the property out of the tax auction, then the property will go for judge's review. He'll sign or she'll sign the order of judgment to the county, and then all the liens are wiped away as far as you're concerned. Now, if the county did not discover a lien, let's say it was overlooked, it wasn't found, that lien is a properly recorded lien in the public record, then the property will be transferred to you with that lien still in effect. So that's why we suggest that you do your own title search, verify with the county who they notified, and as long as the items match item for item, then you can rest assured that you won't have any lien issues going forward. Now, we mentioned the IRS. They have 180 days following the date of the auction to buy the property back from you for everything you paid and closing costs. They will not pay for any improvements that you may have made in that time frame. So if you're looking for liens, look for IRS liens also, then verify with the county that the IRS has been notified. If the IRS has been notified and you close and take title to the property, you can request from the IRS in their New York State office for a lien release, and they'll send you a letter stating that they relinquished their lien interest in that property as you are the new owner. Just keep in mind, some liens, again, that are not notified may still be in effect. The 90-day notice that we mentioned has to do, again, for interested parties. They're served notice that they have final 90 days before the judge will sign the order to protect their liens. And if they don't do so, then those liens are extinguished going forward. There has been numerous court cases challenging this entire process. And the bottom line is that it's presumed that as long as the county has followed all the steps of Article 11, that this is a valid foreclosure, it's legal, and that the liens will be transferred to you free and clear of liens going forward. So there are many properties to choose from. Just this week and going into next week, we're going to be visiting approximately 500 to 600 properties for signs and photos. We know you're not interested in all of those properties, so how do you narrow down your choices? Well, first of all, you're going to have to do your homework, and you could be either overwhelmed, quite methodical, or just fatigued by this process. And we understand that. This isn't something that you do every day, so maybe you want to hire somebody to do the searching for you. But if you're going to do it yourself, there are several things that you should be looking for. One of them is the assessment report. You're going to want to look and see how the property is described in the public record. And in the public record, you're also going to find a property tax map. And you can look at that. You'll see a former owner's deed recorded in the public record, any IRS liens. And then you'll want to contact separately the town, the village, or the school. Now, a lot of this information is available online. We're going to show you how you can do that. Here's a free website that you can go to. It's called ImageMate. It's by a company called SDG. and they have a lot of information for a good majority of the counties throughout New York State. Now, not every single county uses SDG ImageMate, but if it does, then you should be going to this site right here. And you want to take a picture of this slide and go to that sdgnys.com/#IMO shortcut. And you'll be able to look at a great amount of public information. One of them is an assessment report. And this will have a lot of good detail information about the property. There'll be links there to reports that you can look at. You can look at tax map information. You can generate reports, print them out for yourself, and you could also find Google Map links. So here's what that assessment report looks like. It's very detailed, gives you square footage, different property information that the assessor has entered into a statewide database. You'll also be able to look at property tax maps. Now, these are not survey maps. These are tax maps. These give you an approximate shape, dimension, and location of properties relative to others and relative to streets and highways. It's a great source to start doing your homework right there. I mentioned the Google Maps. This is a great tool that's part of that information. You can click on a share to your phone, a Google Map link with a pin, and it'll give you driving directions from wherever you happen to be directly to that property. Keep in mind, most improved properties have a full street address, including a number. They're easy to find. Vacant land, not so much. Most vacant land has no street number, and they're not the easiest to find. So you're going to want to use this type of map linking with your cell phone in order to drive directly to the parcel. Now, deeds, those are good things to read to verify the size of the property. You may want to look for things in the deed like rights of way or easement or other specific property information. The good news is that many of the counties today are completely online with the deed. So you can look up the book and the page. And that information was on the previous information I showed you, the assessor's report. They list the book and page, make note of that. And then when you go to the county clerk's office online, you can look up specific property deeds. Now, most counties will charge you either a per page printing fee or a day pass fee in order to access the information. It varies all across the state. So take a look at that on your own. Now, do you do this title search yourself or do you hire a professional? If you're confident in doing your own work and rely on your own info and what you've discovered, good for you. I've been involved in this work for over 20 years. If I was to do this type of research, and I can't bid on property, can't buy any in the auction, but if I was able to, I would still hire a professional and let them get me a title report. You're going to want to definitely look for IRS liens, as these have a 10-year lifespan from the date of filing. They can be renewed an additional 10 years. As long as the IRS was notified, they're no different than any other lien holder, whether it's a hospital, a nursing home, state income tax. All lien holders that are notified can be extinguished by this process. Again, the IRS has 180 days from the date of the auction to acquire the property directly from you at no profit to you and no loss. Now, local rule means that there are town or village codes governing the use or improvement of property. You're going to want to find out about potential water services or any sewer districts. You want to learn about the schools. These are local information, and you should contact the appropriate local agencies to do that. So, are you done yet? Well, I wish I could say yes, but not quite. You're going to want to learn more about these properties. You know, real estate's a local event. So counties are big places. They have lots of different parcels. And you're going to want to look for recently closed sales nearby to the subject property you're looking at in order to start to gain an apples to apples comparison for value. And there's many ways that you can do that. You can reach out to the realtor community. That's great. But they don't work for free. So you may want to consider hiring a local realtor in order to provide you with some information for a fee for that service. You could also look at sold sites. Realtor.com has sold information. So does Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, etc. There are a whole bunch of sites that you want to look at. Sold. Sold means that's what somebody was willing to pay, and that's the best comparison. Of course, you can look at listings like for sale, your local paper, Harmon Homes, House Upstate Magazine, etc. But those are the asking prices, not necessarily what properties sell for. While you're reviewing property, you're going to want to start taking a look at any cost of repairs or upgrades. And there are a number of ways to do that. Supply houses are great references for the trades. You may want to get some written estimates ahead of time and ask for satisfaction references from former clients of these tradespeople. It's important for you to understand that what you're buying may need some help, might need repair, might need upgrade, and you're going to want to get a good idea of what that investment may be going forward, and that homework needs to be done prior to your bidding. Again, when you ask a professional for advice, the advice is not always free, and keep in mind that free advice is not always best. So just be prepared to pay someone for their information or service. You're going to want to ask the hard questions first. If you see property that has yellow tape or violation signs, or in visiting the property, maybe you've actually witnessed some things that are quite questionable, you're going to want to ask further questions. And maybe some of the questions have to do with zoning, maybe some have to do with code violations, etc. Zoning dictates how properties can be used. So, can you build there? Can't you build there? Is the property big enough to do that? What can I do with this building? That's zoning. And you're going to want to ask those questions on a local level. Building codes have to do generally with safety and safety of the property. What's the design? What's the construction? Have there been maintenance issues? So again, the code department on the local level, that's going to be a great source of information for you. You're going to want to learn about services. Does it have private or public services? Things like public water, sewer, gas, electric. Those are good things to learn about. In very rural areas we go to, sometimes cable, telephone is not nearby. Neither is electric. I visited some properties recently that are completely off the grid. So you're going to want to know that prior to bidding. At the same time, if you do see a well or a septic system, you may want to ask locally and on the county level, what is the condition of that well? If it's known, how deep is it? Does it have potable water? Is the septic tank working? That may be local issue or countywide issue, and you're going to want to ask those questions. Here's an example of property that may not have road frontage. New York State does not recognize what some people call landlocked property. Consider landlocked being property like an island. It has no road actually touching it. And how do you get to it? So on a map, this property looks like it has a road. But in reality, those roads don't exist. They're just drawn on engineered plans and in the tax map. So when you take an aerial view of this property, you discover that it's just woods. There are no roads there. So how do you get to that property? Some properties have a deeded right-of-way. That means you can make access to the property and use it for safe passage. Some have an easement. That's a right to go over somebody's land to get to yours, but you can't necessarily put in a driveway or a road. You want to ask some legal advice. We're not attorneys. We're not giving you legal advice. We're just giving you general information. But you're going to want to look for ways to get to property that we can consider to be rear property or landlocked property. How do you know that we're calling it landlocked or rear property? Typically, we're describing them as may not have road frontage. And when you start looking at maps and photographs, you'll see that they don't actually touch a roadway. Get all your important questions answered before bidding. At auction, when you start bidding, that means you want to buy the property. So are you ready to purchase? Let's try and get you good to go. So one of the most important things to be ready for at the auction is your finances. At the conclusion of bidding, a down payment will be required immediately, and that's going to be done through a credit or a debit card. And then after the auction, there's going to be a 30-day period or less to close. That means finishing out the transaction in a legal sense so that you are the new deeded owner. Keep in mind that all county tax properties are sold with no contingencies, no financing, no inspection, no excuses, closings. Any type of homework that you do needs to be done prior to bidding, and there are no changes to that format. We do accept credit or debit cards at the auction, Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, and we suggest that you call your card provider before you go to use that card and tell them, I'm making a real estate purchase. And you're going to want to estimate what your down payment is. An easy way to do that is to visit our website, nysauctions.com, and look for the down payment calculator. We have every county laid out in terms of their minimum requirements. You could put in the bid amount. You can take a click on that calculator, and it will show you exactly what your minimum down payments for the day will be. And then that's the kind of information you want to relay to your credit card provider and tell them, I'm going to make X dollars down payment on my credit card. They'll confirm that you've made that call. They'll put a note in their computer system so that on the day of the auction, when we run your card for the transaction, it actually works. Now, the auctions are primarily online again this year. We only have a couple of auctions that are contemplated as being in person. But for all other auctions, you will need to fully register online. At all auctions, you can bid online. So if you, even the in-person auctions, if you choose not to attend in person, you can bid online. You're going to want to look for the bidder information packet and get yourself registered. And you do that by getting a username and a password. You're going to have to provide proof positive identification of who you are. We use DocuSign system. Makes it very easy to use at home, very simple. It's quite secure, and we've registered thousands of people this way. But we do need proof positive identification of who you are. You're going to acknowledge that you've looked and read and understood the agricultural district disclosure, the agency disclosure, the new LLC disclosure if you're using that. And you're going to be able to go forward in your registration process as long as you check the boxes. So we do have New York State agency disclosure that we work exclusively for the seller, meaning the county. There is a federal lead paint form that lets you know the county has no idea about lead paint on these properties and that you will waive your right to do any post-auction inspection or the 10-day waiving your right to do an inspection. You're buying them as is, and you're not going to have any complaints later should you find lead paint. We have you sign and acknowledge, rather, the agricultural district disclosure form. Some properties are in an ag district, and you're going to buy them that way. There's a new fair housing notice that's been in effect the last couple of years, anti-discrimination disclosure notice, and there's a new LLC, proof of existence notification that you'll need to file if you're going to be buying these properties as an LLC. If you're bidding on behalf of someone else, not your married spouse, it's a partner or a partnership, you may need to have a power of attorney. We have a form that you can download on our website. That's just one form of many that you can use to submit, but you will need to provide that permission if you're going to be bidding on someone else's behalf. So at the outset, we've talked about all the different homework things that you need to do and all the paperwork. And sometimes when you go to buy real estate, you still feel like this guy. It's like things are tilted against you and you're on the wrong end of the field. The nice thing about auction is that by everyone performing the same paperwork and homework in advance, we create a level playing field. And the way we do that is through the terms of the auction. That makes all buyer offers equal. The only difference is the dollar amount bid. So every county does have terms and conditions, and we're going to have a separate recording specific to the county that you're interested in, talking about their terms and conditions. So you're going to want to take a look on our website or back to the email and make sure that you're getting to the correct terms and conditions recorded seminar. Once you get to our website on auction day, you'll see that the properties are going to be featured, the one that's being bid on, and then there's a list of properties to follow. It's easy to follow. Bidding happens one after the other. Sometimes we have 2 or 3 properties being bid on at the same time because people continue bidding on the property as they're scheduled to close out. It's very simple, very easy to follow. It works really well. We've sold several thousands of properties already through this system, and it works seamlessly. Once you are the high bidder, you will make an immediate down payment through your credit or debit card. We'll do that through our office, and then we're going to start sending you paperwork necessary to begin heading towards the closing process. You'll get a contract of sale. It's a very simple one-page document, contract of sale. We're going to process again your debit credit card. And then, this is kind of interjected here. Here's that down payment calculator I mentioned a few minutes ago. On our website, it shows you that you can search your minimum payment amounts and what they'll be. There are also some additional forms that you're going to sign at the auction. Not only the one-page contract of sale, deposit a receipt, but also there's some required New York State forms. There's a TP 584, which is the transfer tax report, and then a transfer of ownership report, the RP 5217. Those are all filed electronically with New York State, and that's how they keep track of all the property sales that occur. And they also use that information as part of the assessment information going forward on properties. A quitclaim deed will be sent to you by mail once the county approves your bid, right? All property bids have to be reviewed by the county. We don't have minimum starting bids or minimum bid requirements. They're reviewing to make sure that the buyer is not a delinquent taxpayer in their county. They don't want to sell more property to people who are not paying tax. So that's typically what the review is for. Once the county approves your bid, then all the paperwork is filed with the county clerk's office. And in New York State, the legal definition of when it becomes legally yours is when the deed is recorded in the public record. That's when it's officially your property. Even if you fully paid for it weeks before, it's still not your property until it's recorded. So when you get the quitclaim deed in the mail, that's when it's yours, and you can go and start doing whatever you need to do on that property. Typical quitclaim deed is one page and transfers title to you. So that's a general overview of what you should do and how things work at the tax auction. You should certainly follow the advice. If there are any additional steps that your attorney or tax professional tells you to take, you certainly listen to their advice as advised. But again, if you have property-specific information, you're going to want to contact the local town or village, the building department, the code officer, and then for tax information, town, village, school, or on the county level to find out about future taxes. General questions about the way to register or how you're going to participate in the auction can be sent to info@aarauctions.com. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll look forward to hopefully getting to see you all again in person and in a not too near distant future. Thank you and have a great day. Welcome to the New York State Real Property Tax Foreclosure Auction Public Information Seminar for Orange County, New York, and June 2nd. If you have property-specific questions, please contact any town, village, building department in Orange County. Regarding taxes, again, you can contact the town or village, a school district, or the county finance department. If you have general auction questions, you can email your question to info@aarauctions.com. The Internet terms, in addition to the standard terms, requires registration, and that's done entirely online. There's an Internet bidding packet that will be mailed to you via electronic link, and once you've registered for the nysauctions.com website, there's a sample bidding packet you could look at now, but the correct bidding packet will be sent to you for Internet registration. You'll need a driver's license or a valid passport in order to complete the registration process. And once you do that via DocuSign, we will then review your paperwork and you'll receive a notification from Absolute Auction Realty that your account has been approved to bid. The standard terms go on to say that all sales are final. Purchaser is responsible for a 11% buyer's premium and 1% discount allowed for down payments being tendered by bank check or money order. If you're going to send guaranteed funds, which is a form of a bank check or a money order, or what's also known as a cashier's check, those funds must be received at our office at 45 South Avenue in Pleasant Valley, New York, no later than Friday, May 27th, 2022 at 4 p.m. That's the only way to receive the buyer's premium reduction. There's no warranty or representation regarding any condition, physical existence, location, acreage, improvements or building, or any intended use of these properties. Orange County does not make any warranty. Neither does the auction team. All investigation and inspection must be conducted by the buyer prior to bidding. Keep in mind that these properties are going to be conveyed subject to any easements or rights of way or restrictions of conditions that are found in the county records in favor of others. When you're conducting your due diligence, you're going to want to read the deed of the current property deed and all prior deeds to understand if there are any easements, rights of way, etc. Once you finish the transaction, complete your payments of all required fees and commissions, you will receive a quit claim deed. This deed will simply show the tax map number described for the property and will not include a meets and bounds description. Some of these properties may lie in an agricultural district, and that's designated on the tax map. It's the responsibility of the buyer to conduct due diligence prior to bidding. There may be federal or state tax liens that are remaining against these properties. Now, under the Article 11 foreclosure process, the county will notify all lien holders, including federal and state taxing authorities. However, should they have missed notification, that does not relieve you of the burden of future taxes against this property. Please conduct your due diligence, establish who the lien holders were against this property, and then contact the county finance department and ask them who they notified. Your list should match their list 100%. Now, it makes no sense for you to contact them ahead of time and say, hey, who did you notify? That doesn't help you. You need to do your own due diligence to verify. It's the responsibility of the bidder to undertake the necessary research to determine if any of these properties are subject to bankruptcy proceedings. Information about these properties are best learned on the local level, so contact the local town offices for zoning, building, or planning restrictions. You also may want to discover if there are any code violations against the property that you're interested in. Certain properties may be occupied by former owners or squatters. The county does not evict anyone from property prior to auction, so it may become the responsibility of the new owner. We suggest that you do so with the advice of legal counsel. The purchaser is responsible for payment of certain taxes and fees, as indicated in paragraph 13. The best place to find out about taxes and fees would be, again, the taxing jurisdiction, like the local village or town office or school district, or you also may contact the county finance department. Keep in mind that taxes become due and owing on these premises subsequent to the date of the auction. So going forward, once you've taken title, these properties will be subject to future taxes. If for some reason there is a water or sewer district rent still owing on these properties to a town or village, they will become your responsibility. Article 11 does not wipe away prior liens as a result of non-payment of village or town water or sewer rents. Orange County did acquire title through the Article 11 real property tax law process, and all known rights of redemption have been extinguished by this proceeding, meaning all prior lien holders, including the delinquent property owner, are forever barred from coming forward to enforce their lien, as long as they were notified. Again, that's the best reason for you to conduct your own due diligence, learn who are the lien holders, and make sure the county notified such parties. This is a real estate auction, so no title to any personal property is being conveyed. Everything is sold as is. If you see a significant amount of personal property, and that may have value, including vehicles, you may want to use the advice of an attorney to help you conduct a contact method with the former owner, giving them a right to come and take away their personal belongings or vehicles. After which time, it may become your responsibility to dispose of. Now, Orange County does reserve the right to reject any bid. Orange County does have a local law that has indicated there are minimum starting bids, and those are part of our website, and they will be part of the auction. However, even if you meet that minimum starting bid or exceed it, the county may still reject your bid. Why would that be? Upon discovery post-auction that you are also a delinquent Orange County taxpayer, they're not going to sell property to someone who is delinquent in current taxes. Keep in mind that prior owners, immediate family members, or representatives of prior owners may bid, assuming that the bid exceeds all back taxes and fees necessary to retire the debt owing to the county, and that must happen prior to closing. In such event that the court order or judgment cancels this auction, any purchase monies tendered will be fully refunded. However, they will be refunded without interest or any extra entitlement as to the buyer. Purchasers are responsible for payment of the buyer's premium in addition to the accepted purchase price and all closing fees. Now, how do you make a down payment? The successful bidder is required to pay by either bank check or money order, which you have already sent to our office, and that check or money order must be payable to the Orange County Commissioner of Finance. Or you can use a credit or a debit card, like MasterCard, Discover, or Visa. Your down payment must be the greater of $1,000 or 20% of what we call the total contract price. The contract price is the sum of your high bid plus the buyer's premium. We do have a calculator on our website that you can work with in order to determine what your minimum down payment would be for Orange County. I'll direct you to the resource section of our website for that down payment calculator. If you are paying by credit or debit card, the user agrees that they shall not attempt a chargeback on their credit card for any transaction for any reason whatsoever. People have attempted to make a chargeback, however, none have been successful in the last 8 to 10 years that we've had the wording of our credit card forms tailored to meet the requirements of the credit card transaction provider. So you will incur a $750 recovery fee in order for us to go through the process to prove that you agreed not to charge back, and you will not be successful. So please, if you really don't know if you're going to buy the property, we just suggest that you don't bid, you just watch the auction. In addition to any closing fees, there are some real property transfer fees, and they're indicated in paragraph 28. Everyone attending the auction has signed and agrees to the terms and conditions of the auction, and by executing such, they agree to those conditions and acknowledge and understand that that's how they're going to buy property. Now, balances due for the purchase price will be paid directly to Orange County Commissioner of Finance at her office in Goshen, New York, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. on or before June 30, 2022. You can pay prior to June 30, 2022, but the absolute last date of closing is such. After completing the payment, a quitclaim deed will be filed in the Orange County Clerk by Orange County. The purchaser executing the terms of sale may not assign or otherwise transfer the right to complete the bid. The way you register is the way all of the succeeding paperwork will be created for this auction parcel, and that's how the deed will be recorded. Quitclaim deed will be issued to the buyer. If the purchaser somehow fails to pay the total purchase price required as of the date of recording, Commissioner of Finance on before June 30, 2022, your down payment will be forfeit. The purchaser may not take possession or enter the property until the deed has been recorded. Again, if you owe any delinquent taxes to Orange County, those taxes must be paid in full prior to registration for the auction. By executing these terms and conditions, you attest that you have read, understand, and agree to the terms of sale. Now, we also recommend that you follow any additional steps that your attorney or tax professional may advise. Again, if you have property-specific questions, contact the local town or village building department. They intimately know the properties that are going to be in this auction. Regarding taxes, town, village, or school district, or the county finance department, best source of taxing information. And then general auction questions, how to register, how to bid. If you can't figure it out on your own, the intuitive system we have, please send your question directly to info@aarauctions.com. We wish you good luck in the auction and congratulate those who will become new property tax owners in Orange County. We look forward to seeing everyone again in person one day soon. Stay safe.